from the historic and exclusive Arctic Club in beautiful downtown Seattle. It's time for the Anglo-American edition of Spoiler Country, starring your infamous hosts John and Kenric, handing out their usual speedball cocktail of comics, music, movies and popular culture. Without further ado, my friends, it's time for Spoiler Country. They did a bunch of TV ads like in the 80s where it was kind of gag stuff where Steve Wynn would be going, I'm Steve Wynn, I'm the owner of the Golden Nugget, and while he's in the middle of doing that and we've got Sinatra playing here, Sinatra would walk in, yeah, and just go to him, give him a tip, give him $5 and go, make sure you've got plenty of towels, kid. Like that, like he's just a flunky, And they did all of these ads. So basically, Wynn did a deal when he launched Encore with the Sinatra family. They've got a Sinatra-themed restaurant, so like orange leather, and because orange was Sinatra's favourite colour. But they launched this cocktail, and it is fucking delicious, and it's essentially got blackcurrant cassis in it and Gentleman Jack.
Yeah.
So it's a fruit cocktail with a kind of with a bourbon back on it, and so you drink this fruity kind of alcohol, but then you get this like smoky warmth of the bourbon on the end of it.
Yeah,
it's fucking awesome.
Oh,
I love it.
I haven't had that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna next time I go to Vegas, I'm trying it.
Oh, you got to do it.
I'm excited for this whole idea with ours to try new drinks and shit, because we're doing cocktails, beers, any kind of drinks.
I mean, we can even do
non-alcoholic drinks.
You can do non-alcoholic drinks, but the thing is,
the food on this table over here.
Oh, that would be so lovely, mate. Thank you very much.
But we're trying to diversify what we're doing and to bring more people in.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
And it seems like video is like we have a buddy that owns a comic book store. Perfect, thanks, man.
You're welcome.
And he started a year after we did.
Yeah.
Right, but he did it on YouTube. They do video. They do the subscription box.
Yeah.
Right. He's bringing in $9,000 a month.
Okay, there you go. I think
just from subscription box.
But I think,
are you kidding me?
I think YouTube is the way to go, because YouTube is easy for everybody to adopt. I think.
Yeah.
We just need to get video and have places to record.
Yeah. Could we have another round of drinks as well, please, mate?
Definitely.
Thank you very much. Do you want these fries?
Yeah, please. I'm ready to eat.
I need to eat so
There
bad.
you go, man.
All right, we are recording, by the way.
Yeah, excellent.
So
I was starving.
So we were talking about things that we wanted to talk about, right?
Yeah. So you had said you'd like to talk about Steve Ditko.
There's a couple of things on my mind that I'd like to talk about. I'd also like, there's a couple of, I'd just like to update you boys on some of the comic stuff that Titan is doing. Mm-hmm. And we've...
I'm loving Mike Hammer.
Oh yeah, it's great.
I have all of them so far.
Oh, I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Mm-hmm. Max will be pleased to hear that. Like I said,
tell you that we talked about Battle of Britain before, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? I actually own that series. I didn't realize that I actually own the series.
Fantastic, mate.
It is great.
It's really good.
Yeah, I didn't realize I had it because I had gotten it years ago and read it, and then the name escaped, and then I got home, I was looking it up, and I was like, I recognize these covers. And I was like, oh shit, I own these books.
Oh man, it's a real hidden gem. Before we get into, I wanted to talk about some of the creators that are dear to my heart that have either passed away recently. So that would be Ditko, who's passed away earlier this year.
Right.
Yep.
A legendary figure, of course, co-creator of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. I'd talk about some of the realities of his life versus some of the...
I'll trade you the empty one.
Oh, thanks so much, mate.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you. Some of the realities of his life versus some of the rumours that abound about him. Thanks, brother. Thank you very much. That's great. And talk a bit about Norm Brayfogle, who passed away recently, who I think is the greatest Batman artist of the 80s and one of the two greatest Batman artists of all time.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Oh, he's
I love that you brought him
unbelievable.
up because honest to God, I didn't know who he was.
Yeah, right on.
And then you brought it up, and then I looked him up. I'm like, how do I not know who this guy is?
I think as you know his work,
I knew
it's so
his work, that's
atmospheric
for sure.
and drenched in mood and shadow. And then I wouldn't mind talking just a little bit about Gary Friedrich, who passed away recently. He's the creator of Ghost Rider, but was a great Marvel scripter and did some stuff that I'm particularly fond of, which isn't as well known as Ghost Rider. And then just thinking about Brayfogle and the whole Batman thing, wouldn't mind talking about Jim Aparo for a bit. He was the great Batman artist of the 70s, and is probably, in my opinion, with certain caveats, a certain form of his artwork is probably the greatest version of Batman ever. talk a bit about that.
Yeah.
Was he like right before Neil Adams or right
He was just after Neil.
After
He was
Adams.
after Adams, but
So
sometimes
after Adams, before Grell, because Grell had a little run in there in the 70s.
Grell had
too,
a
right?
very small Batman run. It didn't last for a long time.
Right.
But concurrent with all of those, because the key to understanding Aparo is that he was the artist on Brave and the Bold, like throughout many other reigns of other Batman artists coming in. So the thing about him was he was super versatile. He could draw anybody, which is why he was on Brave and the
And
Bold.
he started off on 100 and above.
That's right. And he did all the team up stuff, and he'd also done Aquaman before that. And then when he was at Charlton, he'd done the Phantom. But Aparo's art is kind of like super masculine. You know, the men in the heroes in his artwork, they always look incredibly rugged.
Right.
Almost have that same kind of quality that like actors in 1950s movies like Aldo Ray have. You know what I mean? Kind of like a
Marlboro
kind of
Man.
actor you don't see. Yeah, and these guys are really but he just drew a really cool version of Batman. But I'll get into that in a bit. I thought we could open up. We've just finished New York Comic Con, which for us at Titan it went really super well.
That's so good to hear. I'm happy to hear that.
It was great. We sold out of our stuff. It's a privilege.
You sold out of your stuff?
Yeah, I was
we
laughing
sold
at
out.
you.
Yeah.
That picture was great.
Oh yeah.
When you guys are all tired, or you're all drinking, or you're all...
Oh yeah.
You're sitting back there reading the book.
No, that's right. Exactly. Yeah. If you go to our Facebook page, you'll see all our kind of shtick photos that we take day after day of just because the thing is, Comic Con is a brilliant event. It's also super tiring. And so it's good to have like a focus that we're doing at least one gag photo a day.
Right, have fun with it.
Have fun with it. That's what we're trying to do. I mean, for me, one of the great privileges of working New York Comic Con versus San Diego. I love San Diego Comic Con. It's the cultural epicenter of the comics and pop culture business.
Right.
And what I love about San Diego Comic Con is the way it takes over the entire city and everybody joins in, which is something we were talking about the last time.
New York does?
No, San Diego.
San Diego. But New York's different because New York is New York. The great
is
thing
Gotham.
it is Gotham. The great thing about New York is New York keeps rolling. Whatever you put into the Javits Center, it basically doesn't care. New York is still cooler than anything else you can put on at the Javits Center.
Right.
Whether it's Comic Con, whether it's an anime convention, whether it's a music convention, whether it's a concert, whether it's Bruce Springsteen on Broadway. The city's bigger than all of that.
Yeah, it is.
And so you can walk one block over from Javits, and even though everybody's wearing their costumes and stuff, New York doesn't give a fuck about the fact that's going on. But that's what I love about it as well. I love that just as much as I love San Diego. It totally embraces it. And the great thing for me, as a lifelong Marvel and DC fan, and a huge fan of classic Marvel, a huge fan of Steve Ditko and classic Spider-Man, is that you walk from your hotel to the Javits Convention Center where New York Comic Con is held, and you walk past all these really unique Manhattan sites, which are the water towers that are everywhere, which is all about Steve Ditko's artwork. And until I was 16, I'd never seen a water tower with my own eyes, because that's the age I was when I first went to New York. But I'd seen hundreds of them in Ditko's artwork peppered throughout the city. And actually, I think given where his studio was in Midtown, he could look out his window and see a bunch of water towers, And for me, that's a kind of pure Spider-Man site. So when I'm walking through Manhattan and I'm walking past those water towers on the way to Javits at 8 a.m. or whatever, it's like being in the middle of Ditko artwork.
Yeah.
And something we were talking about before we started recording is something I would totally recommend if you ever go to Manhattan, a brilliant thing to do that is one of the greatest things you can do as a tourist in Manhattan. And it doesn't cost anything. It costs like the same price as a subway ride, something like $2.50. Is you go to 59th Street and 2nd, and you take what they call the Roosevelt Island tram over to Roosevelt Island. Now, Roosevelt Island is the island that is in the middle of the East River, between Manhattan and Queens, and the 59th Street Bridge, which is the famous wrought iron bridge that appears in Woody Allen's Manhattan. It's a really super iconic bridge. That crosses over and has some of its foundations in.
Doesn't that go from Manhattan
Roosevelt.
to Brooklyn?
It goes from Manhattan to Queens.
Oh, Queens.
And basically some of the stanchions are sunk into Roosevelt Island. But Roosevelt Island as a location is is the place that, in loads of things, say like Elementary or like Law and Order, you often see the detectives like having a chat and Manhattan's in the background, and that's where they are. They're walking along Roosevelt Island. But Roosevelt Island connects to Manhattan by something they call the Roosevelt Island Tram, but it's actually a cable car. Yeah. And it's the cable car that features like heavily in Spider-Man mythology, and it's the cable car that features the climax of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. So when he's battling with the Willem Dafoe Green Goblin, and there's a bunch of citizens inside a cable car, that's exactly where it is. And you can go and ride that thing, and you can go and ride over to Roosevelt Island for like $2.50, and like there's literally a cover of Marvel Team Up, and where it's Spider-Man and another hero who I can't remember off the top of my head up there on the cable car, and the Punisher is standing on top of the tram with two semi-automatic weapons, guns blazing at the same time.
I know what you're talking about. What is that from?
It's a Marvel Team Up cover, I believe. And that's how key it is to Spider-Man mythology. But you can go and be part of that for nothing, And then when you get to Roosevelt Island, you can walk around and see those amazing views, and it's got this incredible park called the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Four Freedoms Park. So you walk to the bottom end of the island, which is kind of pointing south towards the mouth of the East River, and it's got this park which is kind of built out of kind of marble, all this beautiful white marble, and it's about the basic tenets of freedom as espoused by FDR and how we can't lose sight of that.
Right.
But it's got an incredible view of down the East River, down towards the mouth of the river. And it's an incredible thing to do, and it costs nothing. But it's pure New York mythology. It's pure Spider-Man mythology.
Put you in New York, you see all the Spider-Man right in the books.
So, you guys, for example, being the big like Marvel fans that you are, I've got this kind of like tourism list of things you should do in Manhattan just if you're a Marvel fan. That's at the top of it.
Dude, when we go to New York, I want that list because I want to do that. Last time I was in New York was 2006, and it was like strictly, I was on Staten Island, and we went into Manhattan to go to Times Square and to go to the hell's the big park name? God damn it.
Central Park.
There you go. Yeah. We went there. I was like just freshly with my wife. We weren't married yet. We had the two kids with us, and we went to those two places, and then we left. That's all we did in New York, besides staying on Staten Island and hanging out with some friends. But
I get it. I mean, and the thing is, New York's so rich.
Yeah.
Just in terms of experiences, you go back time and time again and do a different thing every time you go there. I'm lucky that my work's taken me there many times over the years after maybe going a handful of times between the age of 60 and the age of like 35. In the last 20 years have been a lot. But it's always fresh and there's always something new to do. Another thing I would totally recommend, at the risk of turning this podcast into a kind of New York travelogue, the other thing I would recommend doing is taking the East River Ferry. Now that is an amazing thing to do. So basically you go to, I think the seaport's at 34th where it meets the East River. And you get on the East River Ferry and then you go at speed down to like Greenpoint in Brooklyn where there's a pickup spot. Yeah. And you go right down the second half of the island. But you get an amazing, constantly evolving view of Lower Manhattan. So you get great views of the Chrysler Building, great views of the Empire State. Cool. And then it ends up, you can go straight through to the Wall Street area. But if you get off a stop before, that's at Dumbo, down under Manhattan Bridge overpass, where the Brooklyn Bridge Park is. And that features in tons of movies where characters are like walking along having a conversation with Lower Manhattan in the background, and there's great restaurants and bars there, and then you can walk back over the Brooklyn Bridge, so you can take 3 hours out of your day and just have this amazing kind of whirlwind tour of Manhattan.
That'd be awesome.
And it costs $2.
I've never been to Manhattan.
Little. You haven't?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I've never gone to Manhattan, which is weird because I've been all over the place.
Dude, you'd love it.
Chicago, I love Chicago.
Oh, Chicago's a great city.
We go to New York Comic Con next year. We'll have to take some Manhattan trips.
Get it done. That's what you have to do. So basically, we sold out of all our stuff. But one of the things that we were doing is that the 13th Doctor iteration of Doctor Who. It's aired 2 episodes now. It's been extremely well received. And you remember, one of the things I was saying when we last met is that I knew that the show was going to be really good.
Yeah.
Because the guy who's the showrunner.
The new Doctor Who's out?
Yeah,
It's two episodes already. Two episodes in, yeah.
I thought it wasn't starting until after Christmas.
No, it's out, man.
It's out now, man. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I know this and not you.
I don't know. I mean, I'm a Doctor Who fan.
Yeah.
I'm getting into Doctor Who as from our talks.
Yeah, but I love Doctor Who. So should we do a soft open real quick?
Yeah, right.
Sure.
On. Yeah.
So
We're here.
We're here today. We are in.
Shit, have we got 15 minutes into this conversation?
Yeah, but we're gonna do it now.
That's fucking brilliant.
So we're in the historic Arctic Club of Seattle, Washington.
Yeah, we are.
It's an amazing time, and we get to sit here with one of our good friends, one of our best pals, Andrew Sumner, the EVP of Titan Merchandise.
Indeed. Hello.
Titan Entertainment.
It's so great to be here with you guys.
Oh, man.
Likewise, so good to see you
Awesome.
again.
Been looking forward to this all week.
Oh, man.
We got
so
some topics to discuss. We got some fun stuff. We got some somber stuff, I guess you could say. And then, but you're going to enlighten us on the new Doctor Who stuff coming out of Titan, right?
Right on. Hey, I'm just going to quickly segue into talking about this place that we're in here.
Sure, go for
Do you
it.
boys know the history of this joint?
Not at all.
It's fascinating, right?
Nope.
So the Arctic Club.
Only lived here my whole life.
This is a. So in this quite historic part of town, because the Smith Tower, is just around the corner as well.
Smith and Wesson. I know the history of that one.
Which is it's probably one of the greatest old skyscrapers in America. It's got an amazing bar at the top of it, and a famous architect lady lives in the kind of
pyramid.
penthouse, in the pyramid. But we're here at the Arctic Club, just around the corner, and the Arctic Club. This building is incredibly historic, and it was set up by a lot of the founding industrial fathers of Seattle, and they're guys who all made their fortunes in Alaska, in the Arctic Circle. And so basically these are guys who went and hunted and drilled all that kind of came back mega rich, and they set up a lot of Seattle society. This is 125, 130 years ago.
Right.
And these guys who had precisely that background, who went and found their fortunes in Alaska, but were based here in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest, they set this building up as their kind of exclusive gentleman's club. And you had to have that background to be a member here. And that's what it was, this whole building. So it's built, it's really opulent. It's on the outside, it's built with in sort of incredible wealth. And the motifs that you see around the room here, which are all these photographs, these old kind of Edwardian era photographs. These are all the members of the Arctic Club. These are the guys who set it up. And then it was kind of redeveloped into a very nice hotel about 10, 12 years ago. And that's where we are now. Yeah. And now it's part of the Hilton chain. It's a DoubleTree.
Right.
But that's why you get the polar bear in the corner there. See the light up polar
That's
bear.
cool.
Yeah.
This is quite the opposite type of place we were last time.
Correct. Yeah. And I always think it's good to have both experiences. Right?
I agree. I like
Very fancy.
Yeah.
Very fancy. I like
very fancy.
Because you've got to be able one day to be having a drink in the sawdust and the exposed beams of McSorley's in Manhattan.
Right.
And then the next day you've got to be able to be in the plush surrounds of the Arctic Club.
Right.
The interesting thing, the guys who formed the Arctic Club, they're all self-made men. They all started out poor, but they were really tough sons of bitches.
Right.
Who went and kind of, literally.
It's tough to make money in Alaska.
They literally pulled their money out of Alaska. You know what I mean? Yeah, and by the way, the motif of this place is the walrus. You'll see that there's a lot of walrus imagery around, and on the tiles outside the building, I've got walruses on them.
It's a beautiful building outside.
Oh, it's a great building, and that's all the original frontage and stuff. And the walruses are what these guys kind of ate. The blubber kept them alive in the cold, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a fascinating place. But we were going to talk about New York Comic Con. Yeah. So back to the Doctor, right?
Yep.
So basically, the 13th Doctor is now 2 episodes in. And the show is just as good as we were speculating about it being.
Jodie Whittaker, you know she's last
I have heard nothing but good things about it.
You saw the commercials with her, and she's just...
Oh, she's
got to be brilliant.
She is a great actress. And the thing is, more than that, it's not just her, it's the showrunner, who we talked about again last time I was here, is a guy called Chris Chibnall. He's the greatest showrunner in the UK. He's the greatest TV writer producer in the UK.
Yeah.
He won a shitload of BAFTAs, our version of the Emmys and our version of the Oscars combined into one. For this show Broadchurch that he used to produce and write, which is a kind of a noir detective series set in a coastal town in southern England, and it starred David Tennant as the kind of Scottish detective. And
Nice.
it's got a very downbeat kind of duo vibe to it, very, very emotional series.
Yeah.
Chris Chibnall is a genius, and I think I might have mentioned this last time I was here as well, is Chris Chibnall went to my high school in the Liverpool suburbs. He was a couple of years behind me. Do you know what I mean? So he's like he's like the most famous dude who ever went to my school. You know,
Besides you, of course.
oh, besides me, of course. Right. Yeah. But
Sir Mix-a-Lot went to my school.
yeah. Oh,
Did he?
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's,
Way before I was there.
that is,
I used to work with his bodyguard,
Oh, what's his
fantastic.
name?
Farron Randall.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
He was in the WWE as Randy the Pimp Taylor.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool. So what we did at San Diego, we were launching our 13th Doctor comic book, and so we launched with an issue 0, and the issue 0 basically gives you, in comic book terms, the perfect jumping on point for. You don't need to have 50 years of Doctor Who history. You just read issue 0, and it gives you the history of Doctor Who, so you can then jump into the regular 13th Doctor comic book. And the regular 13th Doctor comic book, that's actually launching in November, and it's written by a great talent, a lady called Jodie Hauser, and that is that the first issue is going to be on sale on November the 7th.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's our ongoing 13th Doctor comic
I bet
book.
it sells really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got great pre-orders on it. So yeah, we're all really excited about it.
Yeah.
And some great cover art on the.
Yeah, look at these covers.
Oh yeah, we've got a
They're
great.
amazing.
Yeah, I'm showing the boys for the people listening to this. I'm showing the boys the covers we've got coming up. There's a variety of covers. There's a photo cover. There's a great cover by Alice Sang, who's a brilliant US-based artist that we work with, who does a lot of pastel-coloured like illustrations and whatnot. She's done a bunch of DVD covers for the BBC. Yeah, and so it's all good stuff, you know.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah, no, we're really proud of them, and you know, I think I mentioned we've got 2 excellent guys who work in the on the comics team who really know a lot more about this stuff than I do, because on a day-to-day basis I work on our merchandise side, and there's a guy called Will the Devil O'Mullane who's our press guy, and then there's Chris J. Thompson, Australia's finest. He comes from Melbourne in Australia, and he is our brand manager on comics. And I think both of you guys have had some interaction with them before, but they're really excellent guys, and they know this stuff inside out, and they've been doing a ton of work.
You need to get them
with
on.
the editorial.
Yeah,
you should get them on. They're good dudes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then,
Well, if we go to London, we get them all on, right?
well, you get everyone on.
Yeah.
We'll put everyone into a boozer, and we'll just get them talking about
Yeah,
stuff.
perfect.
Yeah, right. Will, by the way, is only a young dude, but he's a fucking massive Spider-Man fan. He's super knowledgeable about Ditko, who we're going to talk about in a bit. And
Nice.
and you know, Chris Thompson is a man after my own heart. He's just spent years loving comic books, you know.
I like it.
So the other thing that we launched is an ongoing series of comic books based around V.E. Schwab's best-selling Shades of Magic novels, and they're kind of like a young adult series, very, very cool fantasy series. Victoria Elizabeth Schwab, V.E. Schwab, and she has like a massive online following. And issue 1 came out just this last week on October the 10th. And if you look at this, some beautiful kind of cover art there, all based within the mythology of these books, which I won't spoil.
Who was doing the cover art in those?
Okay, so there is some cover variants here, and I'm not sure.
That looks amazing.
That's amazing. That's the one that we had at New York Comic Con. I was very pleased with that. And but you look into the designs of it all, it was really lovely. The interior artist is an artist called Andrea Olimpieri. She's super talented.
Yeah, you know, it
Super
kind of
talented.
reminds me a lot of Fiona Staples.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
But more
Staples is
detail.
The interior art?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is
fantastic.
a really great book, and
That's amazing.
I'd urge anybody to check it out. Shades of Magic, it's great stuff. And then the other thing we announced was we're doing. Are you aware of that hit game?
Yeah, we're
that Life is Strange. We're doing an ongoing book based upon that we're launching on November the 14th. And so that's quite an interesting, I don't want to spoil it, it's quite an interesting take, but if you're a video gamer and you're into Life is Strange, the comic's really well worth checking.
Is it an adaptation or is it like in that world?
It's in that world.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
It's in
Good.
that
That's
world.
awesome.
And were you guys ever into Tank Girl?
I love Tank Girl.
So
Tank
basically, we've published all of the Tank Girl collections over the last couple of years and a bunch of new Tank Girl comics.
Yeah.
But for the first time ever, Tank Girl is 30 years old this year.
Can't believe that.
So
Right?
we
I can't believe that.
We're launching an ongoing Tank Girl series in December, and it launches with Tank Girl Action Alley #1, still written by Alan Martin, the original author. And,
That's so cool.
and it looks great, actually.
How old was Alan when he started doing?
Oh God, he was just a kid. Do you know what I
baby,
mean?
man.
He
He's
was
got
just
to
a
be.
kid.
That is just nuts.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, I mean, it's still a great kind of edgy stuff that everybody really likes. So that'll be out in December.
For what it's worth, I still like that movie with Laura Petty.
I think the movie's
yeah?
good.
I think it's good.
I mean,
I enjoyed it.
I really love all the art inserts that's in that
Yeah,
movie. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah, it's
I think
great
it's,
stuff.
it's a lot of fun. Laura
It
Petty.
looked like a comic book.
It did. It looked like a comic book with real people in it, which
Yeah,
I
because
liked.
they use a lot of Hewlett's art in the bridging scenes in that
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
I do think it's underrated. And then we've got our Robotech series, which is year 2 of our Robotech series.
How's that doing for you guys?
Kicks off. It's been doing really well. And if
It's
you're-
awesome. I used to
if-
watch that so much growing up.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should check this book out, man.
Yeah.
It's good. We just I think it was issue 13 that just went on sale in the last week on October the 10th, and that's issue 13. We had a variant cover at New York Comic Con, and Robotech 14 will be out on November the 14th.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and the other thing so one of the things we announced at San Diego is that we're going to be doing an ongoing Blade Runner comic.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The awesome thing we were able to announce
That's a
in New
coup to
York
get that.
is that it was a massacre, and it took. I'm telling you, our publishers, Nick Landau and Vivian Chung, they worked their tails off getting that deal over a
That's
very long
awesome.
period of time. Nick's a huge Blade Runner fan, and Vivian and Nick really kind of something they've coveted for a while. They had a very clear plan about what they wanted to do, and they put it all together. So hats off to them.
Yeah.
But the big thing we're able to announce at New York Comic Con is that the screenwriter of Blade Runner 2049, Michael Green, is going to write the ongoing comic book for us.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I know,
That's
it's
so
fucking
cool.
awesome.
You guys must have had huge competition because I can see Dark Horse really trying to vie for that a lot.
Oh yeah, for
That's
sure.
awesome.
For sure. I mean, there was a lot of people who wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And Michael's going to team up with a well-known comic writer, Mike Johnson, and they're going to pen this Blade Runner series, which is going to be in canon. It's going to be part of the mythology of both of the
No
movies.
way. And Ridley Scott's on board with that?
Yeah, everybody's on board with it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Everybody's on board with it. That's really exciting, and that's going to be coming at some indeterminate point in 2019. And
awesome.
I'm excited for that one.
the other thing we've been doing a lot
I'm
recently.
putting that in as an order right
Oh
now.
yeah, get it done. Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever checked out any of the kind of coffee table books we do on the publishing side, but we've got some really ones that I'm super excited about based upon my kind of level of my fandom focus, which is at the end of this month we're producing this Marvel Studios The First 10 Years art book, coffee table book. And it's all the production designs from the first 10 years of Marvel. And I saw the galleys before I came over to the States, and it is amazing.
A lot of Andy Park.
Amazing. Oh, exactly.
Yeah, I just
great.
got a Andy Park commission in the mail the other day.
Oh, how sweet.
I paid him $150.
Yeah.
And he did me an 8 by...
8 by 10?
No, it's the smaller one.
6 by 9?
I don't know, maybe it's 6 by 9.
Something this size.
Yeah, it's like this size,
Yeah.
but it's just a headshot of Magic.
How awesome.
The Marvel character Magic.
Oh, yeah. How
And,
awesome.
and it's interesting because Disney had just announced that it had gone through, and he is doing a panel. We're at Ace Comic Con in Seattle in April. Was that April?
Yeah.
And it just announced that Disney's whole thing had gone through to acquire Fox.
Yeah.
Right. And so people kept asking him, "When's Wolverine come in?" And no. He goes, "I can't. You know what? With all the news you've heard, I can't say anything." Because Andy Park is the guy that did the majority of the costumes that you see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
A lot of the design work.
Yeah, the design work. A lot of the design work. And he said he couldn't do it. But I was like, "Can you draw me Magic?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it at home." And he did it. And so I can't help but think that is going to be a design that is going to be in the New Mutants once Disney is doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm excited. I want to see your guys' coffee table book.
That book's going to be great. And the other one we've got is The Art of Iron Man, which is the 3 Iron Man movies, and that's just published on October the 9th.
Oh, nice.
And that is incredible as well. And just as good as those two is, have you seen the trailer for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Oh my
man, I
God.
can't
That looks
wait for
amazing,
that.
right?
It looks amazing.
I mean, those two lads, like Lord and Miller, they really know what they're doing. They
Yeah.
know
That
their
movie's gonna
shit
be
inside
so
out.
great.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
It's going to be so
really
good. And we're doing the art of book for that.
Dude, that trailer, you can pause on any scene and it's a poster.
Oh, it's just,
Yeah.
The
it's
art
just
is so
fantastic.
fantastic.
And so the art of the movie is going to be on sale December the 18th. And it's incredible stuff. I was actually sat in our CEO's office, in Vivian and Nick's office, before I flew out from New York. And the galleys were sat on the desk, and I started looking through them. And I had to stop myself, because I just want to go in and, enjoy the movie. I mean,
Yeah.
it was so good. I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa," But I mean, it just that trailer. I mean, it's like it's late 30s Peter Parker.
Right.
It's Miles Morales. It's Spider-Gwen. It's Spider-Ham.
Yeah.
It's
Spider-Man Noir, I mean, it's
Oh yeah,
so good.
It's just so good.
Spider-Ham when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like
Dude, I love Spider-Man.
Yeah,
12. I loved it.
Peter Porker, the
I
Amazing
literally
Spider-Ham.
cannot wait to see that movie.
Yeah.
But the art of book we do.
Where do you think you'll be at when it comes out?
It's incredible. Where will I be in the world? Or
Yeah.
what is that?
Yeah, where will you physically be located?
I'll physically be in London then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll be back at home because it's. I think it comes out in December,
Yeah,
right?
December, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got this thing that I'm a big lover of Christmas. I'm a massive. I'm not a religious person at all, right?
But Christmas is awesome.
And I don't come from a religious household, but Christmas as a kind of secular concept, I even love all the kind of Christian imagery around it. But I love Christmas, and the way I always
It's
look
hard
at it.
not to love Christmas.
Yeah, actually, this is kind of germane to comics and is worth talking about. That one of the best comic creators to ever write about Christmas and talk about it was Will Eisner. The one of the two or three greatest comic book creators of all time. The guy who created the Spirit.
Yeah.
And he used to do a thing on the Christmas. So the Spirit, just to recap on what that was, it wasn't a comic book in the traditional sense. It was a 16-page color booklet called the Spirit section that was inserted into American Sunday newspapers between 1940 and 1952.
Yeah.
And so the Spirit was a weekly colour 8-page comic strip that was half of it, and
Right.
there was other stuff in the second half. Yeah, and Eisner himself wrote and drew with some assistance, but wrote and drew the 8-page Spirit section. So that's why he always owned the Spirit. It was never published by DC or Marvel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was essentially a newspaper strip, but it was really a newspaper comic book hybrid. But he used to have it, and it used
cool,
to
I
come
didn't
out
know
every
that.
week.
Yeah, it's
and
really
so all
cool.
those collected editions, that's what they are. It's collections of them. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
It's a high level of art. When he started it in 40, he produced it for the first 2 years. Then he got conscripted into the army for World War II. And it's produced by assistants like famous old comic book dudes like Lou Fine and whatnot while he was in the army. Then when he came out, when he was...
Do you like the work they did?
Lou Fine was an amazing artist.
Right.
But Eisner's view is that basically the strips that were produced in his absence were kind of a pale retread of his vision. They didn't have any of his artistry.
Right.
And that's a fair cop. They look good, but they're just kind of like any regular Golden Age comic book. But the minute he got back, what he'd been doing when he was in the army, he'd been producing kind of like instructional cartoon strips and posters and whatnot. And he'd really matured in his art. So he comes back, in late 45, early 46, and then there's the strip between like 45 and 50 as at its absolute creative peak. But he had this thing that he did, which was called the Christmas Spirit. So in the Christmas edition of the Spirit, there were 52 Spirit strips of about 8 pages produced every year.
Right.
In the Christmas edition, it used to be called the Christmas Spirit. And the Spirit's thing was, because he hides out in a place called Wildwood Cemetery, where he's a criminologist who's allegedly died.
Right.
But he was actually kind of frozen in a chemical which put him into suspended animation, so he never really passed away. So he lives in Wildwood Cemetery under his own gravestone, right? And so what he'd do is he'd basically at Christmas time he'd just sit back and he'd have the scene where he goes, well, I don't fight crime on Christmas. the Christmas spirit looks after everything, not me. Yeah. and if you ever saw Eisner talk about Christmas, because he was a Jewish dude, he was like, well, you know, I never celebrated like Christmas growing up, but producing a mass market newspaper strip, you know, for a mainly back then traditional Christian audience.
Yeah.
He was like, I got into my view of what Christmas is, where it's that one day a year where everybody takes time out to forget about all the bullshit that goes on, and like the petty competitiveness and all the nonsense in the world, and everybody takes time out just to be good to each other. And I think that is a brilliant philosophy of what Christmas actually is.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have to be a religious dude to embrace that, and I'm not, but I do
appreciate
embrace
what
it.
the spirit of Christmas really is.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it'll be good.
And I think it's an important thing, and so that's a very, as usual, massively round the houses answer to your question, which is, what am I doing in December? Well, I always take December out to spend it at home in London. And I split it between London, my home, in the last 30 years, and Liverpool, my hometown, which, as I've said before, evangelised about as a great
So
city.
it's a good time to go to London and actually see.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, because also London's a great Christmas city because
I'm sure.
the popular conception of Christmas around the world is actually forged in Dickensian London.
Right.
Yeah, it's Charles Dickens, isn't it? A
Yeah.
Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
So if you think about all Christmas imagery, it's people with top hats and like frock coats and like scarves, and it's snow in London. You know, so London's a great place to be at Christmas time. It's awesome.
You know who designed our current concept of what Santa Claus looks like, though, right?
Coca-Cola. I do know this. Yeah.
Before that, he was a little elf.
Yeah, and before that, he used to wear like a green.
Yeah.
He was kind of green basically.
Yeah. It was either Papa Noel or elf. Or,
I mean, do you know what we call Santa Claus in the UK? Father Christmas.
No.
Yeah, so
And you guys say Happy Christmas.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
We say Merry Christmas.
Well, and that's funny because we say Merry Christmas as well. A Merry Christmas is actually an English term. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, that comes from England.
Yeah.
But over time, you know, we've said Happy Christmas. I think one of the reasons why we say Happy Christmas so much is because that John Lennon song, Happy Christmas, War is Over.
Yeah.
You know, that's of, you know, I think it's one of the things that, but I personally am a big adherent to Merry Christmas because I like to keep yes, please, brother. Yeah, we'll do it again. We'll take
all the way around.
Take a look.
Yeah, all the way
Thanks
around.
very
It's
much. Yeah, so
Wait. I'm not done with that one.
I'll be. Don't take that man's drink.
It's not done.
Not unless you want to. Not unless you want to finish it. Yeah. That episode of Sport of Country went well until Kenric started beating up the bartender.
Right.
Taking his vodka away. Yeah.
It went great.
It was fine until he beat the bartender to a pulp. It wasn't pretty. We're right next to the pool table as well. He's recreating that scene from Coogan's Bluff where Clint taking out the guy at the pool table. Takes out his nose and all his bridge work. Don't take my fucking vodka. What? Sorry, where am I? Anyway, Sport of Country.
I love
Getting
it.
led away and changed. You know. Sport of Country coppers. You never take me like
Hey, why are you taking a second? Keep the recording going. Come on, keep the recording going.
God, this is good shit.
It's great content.
You'll never take me like
I know my rights.
Yeah. Sport of Country. Just get locked into a black and white and
Oh
driven
man,
off.
my stomach hurts from laughing. How are the fries?
We're good. We're good.
So yeah, Christmas is a good time. So
Yeah.
that is where I'll be. Celebrating Christmas and watching Spider-Man Into the
Oh, I
Spider-Verse.
can't wait. I really can't wait for that movie.
I fucking cannot wait for
I am
it.
not excited for
I'm
anything
more excited
else
for that
than
than I was to see Venom.
Yeah.
Than I was to see Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah.
Well, Aquaman's coming out next month, but I'm more excited for the Spider-Man movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I
way
love
more.
Jason Momoa, but I'm not really
Yeah.
excited about Aquaman. But I can't wait to see
looks-
Spider-Man. It looks
Dude,
great.
That 5-minute trailer
Yeah.
looked amazing.
And the thing is, I do believe in Justin Lin. He's a great kind of talent. You know what I mean? So, right, okay.
He made Fast and the Furious cool.
He's great. He's great. He's a very, very talented guy. So I was stuck in Cleveland at the weekend. Cleveland, never even been to Cleveland. What am I talking about? Scratch that. I wasn't stuck in Cleveland, but I would like to go. I've never been there. I was stuck in Cleveland in my mind.
No, you got it right. You got it right. You were stuck in Cleveland.
So
Must have been the rock and roll.
yeah,
Hall of
that's
Fame.
right. Yeah, that was it. You know, what I mean? Cleveland, stuck in Cleveland. Can't stop thinking about Cleveland. Thank you very much.
You're
mate.
going back
Cheers,
to
thank you.
Ohio.
Yeah.
want that?
So
Thank you.
So check this out, right? Apparently, this is going somewhere. Apparently,
always does. It always does.
this is a common experience, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for the lemon on my hand, man. Appreciate that.
I'm in Denver
lime,
at the
sorry.
weekend.
Disinfection.
I'm in Denver at the weekend,
Yeah.
and
Great city.
Love, fantastic city, fantastic state as well. I really, as you know, I'm a great lover of all the US states. I love the mountain states.
Yeah.
Utah and Colorado, incredibly beautiful places. Great city, have some good meetings. I go to bed on Saturday night in Denver. Have some meetings. I meet an old friend of mine for lunch, William Smith. If you're listening to this, Will, great to see you, man. And a super nice, super great guy. Used to work for Hot Topic. Awesome person. So we have a nice lunch and do some meetings and whatnot. It's all good. I go to my hotel and I hit sack and I take a picture of this beautiful sunset, and it is 62 degrees and it's like 8 o'clock at night or whatnot.
Yeah.
62 degrees, amazing sunset. Go to sleep, get up relatively early. 8 hours later, pull open the curtains, and there is a complete white-out blizzard in front of me. Literally, you can't see the mountains, you can't see anything, and everything's covered in snow.
Welcome to Denver.
It's clearly been snowing for like 4 hours. And I looked at the temperature, and it was 20 degrees. The temperature dropped 40 points in 8 hours. I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah,
That's
Denver,
I was wearing what you're seeing now.
You were cold.
It's like, so I'm stuck in Denver. There's a fucking blizzard going on. I'm like, well, you know, the kind of like day of like gentle sightseeing I'd had planned, you know, that didn't come to pass. So I did a bunch of work in my room, and then I'm like, I might as well go to the movies. So I went to see Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh, was that good?
It's fucking awesome.
Oh, I want
it's
to see
great.
that.
And it's one of my 2 or 3 favourite movies of the year. And I don't want
see that.
contrary to the name of this podcast, I don't want to give anybody any spoilers, because it's like it's one of those films that's much better seen just completely cold.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even revise and go and see the trailer again. I'd just go and see it.
Yeah, it looks so good.
But it's brilliantly written and directed by Drew Goddard, who's a great talent, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, from his Daredevil days and whatnot. But the cast is uniformly good. And it's like full of surprises, and it doesn't go where you think it's going to go. Even, you know, having seen every Tarantino movie under the sun, when you look at it, you think, okay, well, probably it does some really good stuff.
Yeah.
And I was genuinely surprised at certain points in the narrative. It's and I don't want to say any more because I don't want to spoil it, because it's not a mystery per se, but it's like, it's just like, as with the Tarantino movie, it's a story that opens out and opens out and opens out.
Yeah.
She starts on one tack and ends somewhere else entirely.
Right.
But I couldn't recommend it highly enough, and you know, you guys would be letting yourselves down if you didn't go and see it in the next week or two.
Yeah.
Drew
no,
Goddard,
I'll see it this weekend.
Goddard, if you want to send me a postal order for pushing this movie for next week, and see what I'm gonna do, you can, you know, because it's fucking awesome. It's great.
I want to see Hotel Artemis.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's supposed to be pretty good.
Yeah,
I
that
haven't
is
seen
supposed
it.
to be
I
good.
haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, that is supposed to be good. There's been a
I think
bunch
it's out
of
on DVD now, though.
Yeah, no, you can get out. You can get it on DVD. Yeah, there's a bunch of films that I tell you, a film I wanted to see last year, but I never caught up with. And now that I'm saying it, I really should make a point of seeing it before the end of the year. Is I think it's called Free Fire. Yeah, and it's about a bunch of like gun dealers trapped in a warehouse, and none of them quite trust each other. And it's got like Brie Larson in it. And
You
it's
had me
got,
at gun dealers. I want to see
yeah.
that.
And it's got like what's his name? Big tall dude played the Lone Ranger, played Ilya Kuryakin.
Army Hammer.
Yeah, Army Hammer's in it. Bunch of other people. Yeah.
You know what's good? If you haven't watched it yet, is Upgrade.
Oh no! Now, actually, a good mate of mine. That if you ever look at the Hot Topic Periscope, if you ever look at any of the Hot Topic social media, there's a lady who introduces all of it called the HT Nerdette. Yeah.
Okay.
And the HT Nerdette runs the Periscope channel. And every now and again, I go and do a piece on the HT
On Periscope?
channel. Yeah, on Periscope.
Oh, I've never
It's every
gone.
it's every
I know
Wednesday.
Periscope, I've
It's
never
every
used it.
Wednesday, and if you go and look at the Hot Topic or HT Nerdette Periscope, there's a couple where I'm doing them with her. In fact, I'm doing one this Wednesday.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Check it out.
She's a good friend of mine. She's an extremely cool person, and she went to see Upgrade, and she said it was the nuts. She thought it was fantastic.
Dude,
She was massively waxing rhapsodic about it.
I watched it, and I had a simple concept of it. You know what I mean? Just a brief, like, I knew it was a guy that somehow is upgradable throughout the movie.
Yeah,
It blew my mind.
yeah.
It was one of the best sci-fi
I haven't
movies
heard of it
to come
before.
out.
I haven't heard of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I'll have to check it out now.
So
Oh, yeah.
the whole concept is a guy gets in an accident. Won't tell you everything. Gets in an accident. He's paralyzed from the neck down. They put a chip in his spine, and the chip starts talking to him because it's all AI. And then it says, "Do you want me to take control?" And he's like, "Yes." And then they start investigating the murder of his girlfriend, and it is crazy. You have to watch it.
I'm ready. I'm in.
Don't
on
watch it
that.
with the kids,
Okay.
Because it's insanely
Violent.
visceral,
Yeah,
and violent. Yeah. But
I
definitely
sounds
it's
want to
so
see it.
good. Yeah, it's
I
good. It's
definitely
fun.
wanna
It's,
see it.
it's definitely one you should check out.
Yeah.
If you like if you like sci-fi,
I love sci-fi.
right, and you like a good story that the nice thing about it is that they didn't have a lot of money, so they really delve into character development more than just visual. You know what I mean? But it's very visceral.
Right, I like that.
Yeah.
I like character development over. I mean, I love fancy effects.
That's why
right,
the first
but-
X-Men's so good.
Right.
yeah.
Kevin Feige talks about that.
Yeah.
He talks about the fact that the first X-Men movie, they didn't have any money. Fox didn't want to give them any money, so they had to do character development to bring the story across.
Yeah, right.
Like the scene where they have the guns. They may not have the guns. Those were just hanging guns off of wires.
Yeah.
They couldn't CGI that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
They couldn't afford to do
I
it.
mean, it's a triumph of, but that's it. Sometimes what delivers great storytelling
Yeah.
is not having the budget to do a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, I think-
that's why the original Deadpool's so good.
Yeah. I
Low
think
budget.
a lot of comic book movies need to move in that direction. I think that's why people like us love the comic book so much, because we read so much. Like me and Johnny were talking about the other day. 80 years of Batman. You're not reading, when you read a single Batman story, you have 80 years of context. That's
Yeah.
a full-grown human being that has a full backstory
That's
as
right.
much as you and I.
Yeah, correct.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely right,
You don't
yeah.
get that with.
Yeah.
You can look up A Tale of Two Cities. Amazing book. I've read it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And the character development is amazing, and all that stuff. But he still doesn't have full fleshed out characters, because you can't without having the amount of storytelling that's been done for 80 years.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what I
that's
mean?
right, man.
And
That's
so
right.
it's cool, and I think that's where comic book stories or movies are starting to falter a little bit. They're relying more on the CGI and the big, check out this big character and these big CGI, things.
Yeah.
But they're forgetting that some of the best stories told are the ones that get into the character, that develop that, and then you get emotionally involved. Like my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time, or book, arc, is Kraven's Last Hunt.
Oh yeah, that's a great book.
Such
And it's
amazing.
all
Yeah.
just so, it's all
Yeah.
character driven.
Yeah, yeah.
None of it is like, oh my
Yeah.
God, look at this amazing shot or this amazing,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I mean, the
It's-
art's fantastic.
the art's fantastic, but the story is everything.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is a great sequence. I mean, I think my favourite non-Stan and Steve version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I do like the Stan and Romita stuff as well. That's great. But I mean, I really love those first 38 issues of Spider-Man, which is Stan and Steve Ditko, because that's the basic DNA of it all. But in recent years, there are 2 Spider-Man tales that I 2 arcs of Spider-Man that I really love.
Yeah.
And one is Benson Bagley's whole run on Ultimate Spider-Man. I often, if I meet people who are relatively young, like in their teens, and they want to get into Spider-Man, I'm always like, that's what you got to read. That's it. Take it from the ground up, and that's great. For the first, I guess 26 collections, and then ultimately Peter Parker passes away. And then that is a spoiler, but it's been out for a long time.
It's been a long time.
And then it's Miles Morales. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
That whole sequence is absolutely fantastic.
The introduction of Miles Morales is so awesome.
That guy over there, by the way, that man, Dave, come here for a sec. This guy, you've got to meet these guys.
Yeah.
It's all right doing this.
That's fine.
We don't mind doing this on tape, mate. This is my good friend Dave Dynas.
Dave Kenric?
He is
Hey, John.
He is
Nice to meet you.
great to see you, man. This is John. This is Kenric. This guy.
podcast guys, right?
Yeah,
We're recording right now.
So Dave is like Seattle, like born and raised, and he's our kind of Pat Northwest rep for all our apparel that we do.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
He helps me get into retail.
Awesome.
Yeah, and when I say helps me get into retail, he gets it into retail. You know what I mean? This is a great guy.
That's
True
funny. We want to
story.
make T-shirts.
True story. I'll tell this story right now because it's a good one. You're looking at somebody standing right here. You saved my life. About 4 years ago, we were having a meeting here, and I've been at Comic Con, I think it was, right, Dave? Yep. And basically, I had a really bad chest, but because I've had a bunch of chest ailments as a kid, I was kind of ignoring the symptoms. And we went out to a meeting, and after the meeting, Dave is like, I have to take you to like a hospital, to a doctor. And I was like, I know I'm going to be okay. He said, no, your energy's way off. Your voice doesn't sound right, blah, blah, blah. And I go in, and like they sit me down, and they do all these tests, and I had pneumonia. And the doctor was like,
no, wait, like walking pneumonia?
Yeah, if you came in 24 hours later, you'd be spending 3 weeks in hospital.
Wow.
We've got you, you have one
They
more
got you the
day in
antibiotics and
you know
everything?
what I mean? Yeah, and like, so he saw it, so well done.
The reality was I didn't want to drive around with him if he was contagious.
Oh, man, that's crazy.
Good to see you, man. All right, mate. Okay, right on.
right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Andrew is an amazing guy, man.
Yeah, that was pretty fun, man.
That was a lot of fun. I mean, he knew stuff about the Arctic Club, and we grew up here, and we didn't even know about it.
I'd never heard of it before, to be honest, until he said, let's go to the Arctic Club. I was like, all right, cool, whatever.
There's so many, but to be fair, there's so many bars and clubs like that down in Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
seriously.
I didn't hang out in Seattle as a kid. I would go to Seattle for like shows and then go home.
Yeah,
you know?
it's the same thing. I went to laser shows, being stoned and going to see Pink Floyd laser show, man. And I saw Metallica's, man, and Nirvana, and I saw a bunch of them, Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin.
Nice. I've never been to a laser show except for like I went to one they did a small one at like the Air and Space Museum in DC when I was there, but it was like, it was like nothing.
Well, the Seattle Pacific Science Center's laserium is pretty spectacular,
Yeah, I know.
But you got to go when you're like 18, 19. That's the thing to do.
Right. I don't want to go now.
Yeah, you go now. I mean, you can go with your kids and stuff, but it's not the same.
We actually had tickets to go see Laser Sublime.
Oh.
Like 2 or 3 years ago. We bought tickets for it, and then at the last minute, like, you know what? I don't want to go to this shit. we decided to stay home instead.
It's pretty fun. I was dumb and I got kicked out of the Redwood Plaza where the Family Fun Center arcade was when I was like 17. I don't know what I did. I can't remember. But we ended up...
Something dumb?
Yeah, something stupid, I'm sure. And we ended up going to the laser shows almost every weekend for like 3 months in a row.
Damn.
Yeah. We just, me and my buddies just go all the time. It was kind of fun. All the girls like going. So we'd go, yeah, let's go. Let's take you.
Well, I mean, if the girls are going, you got to go, right?
Right. But speaking of Andrew...
Yeah. Speaking of Andrew,
that was a cool interview that we just did with him, and just so everybody knows, we're gonna have that almost once. We're shooting for once a month, but Andrew is a globe-trotting. He's
the globetrotter.
Yeah, he's a globe-trotting salesman kind of thing, and he's
busy.
Yeah, he's a busy man, and if you follow us, you'll see him all the time. He's at every con that you can think of across America, promoting Titan merchandise, Titan Entertainment, Titan Comics. And he's
just Titan in general.
Yeah, and he's the executive VP. The guy is a busy guy, and he takes his time out to hang out with us, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and so we had this episode, as you know, because this is the end of it. It was long, but there was no way to cut it down.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was too much fun, and I can't wait to have him back. And what an intro that he just did for us.
I know the intros are awesome.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to say on this is I want to tell a little story about what happened to me before we got to the interview. Or it's not really an interview. It's
a hangout.
It's more of a hangout.
Yeah, it's a total hangout. That's what we try to do with all our interviews, anyways, is just have hangouts. But this is funny.
Right.
Can I set it up a little bit?
Go set it up.
Okay, so I was running late, but I ended up being the first one there, which is hilarious because Johnny was actually there about 15 minutes before, but he was around the building. And he was like, there's a key card to get into this place. And I had already just walked up to the other side of the building, walked right into the Arctic Club, the doorman and everything. The place is plush. And I'm there for like 5 minutes and no one's there. And I'm like, hey, where are you? He's like, what do you mean? He goes, you're like, I'm there. And I'm like, I'm inside. You're like, what the fuck? And then what happened?
Well, I'm standing outside, just minding my own business, texting you guys, trying to figure out what the hell's going on, texting Kaylee and stuff. And then this guy walks up to me and there's, if you follow me on social media over the last couple of years, you know that I've written and drawn lots of little stories about my interactions with homeless people in Seattle and stuff that happens. Some bad, some funny, some good.
Of homeless people right now. It's actually an epidemic here right now.
It really is. It really is. And it's not. They're not all bad. Some of them are funny. Some of them are kind of cute. This one was not funny or cute. Yeah,
I know if I was homeless, man, I'd be going nuts.
Right. So as this guy walks up to me, right? He has, he has like, how like in football and stuff, they put like the black lines under their eyes.
Yeah.
He has like those, he's like something tattooed under both of his eyes that look like boxes of black, but there was something in them I couldn't tell.
Oh, okay.
And he walks up to me and he was like, hey man, I just woke up. I take some heavy psych meds and I'm kind of confused right now.
Heavy psych meds. That's what you want to hear.
Yeah. To pause that for a second, that is never a good way to start a conversation with somebody. I just woke up because I take heavy psych meds. That's not, does not.
I got to keep the
image.
voices down, man.
Right. They keep telling me to murder white people. I just got to tell them no. But so he says that. I'm like, all right, okay. I'm sorry. He's like, hey man, I'm really hungry. Could you spot some cash? And I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash, which is true. I rarely carry cash on me.
I rarely carry cash unless I actually know I'm going to place that I need cash.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I'm sorry, I don't have any cash. So I apologize. I'm very, very polite in the whole thing.
Right.
And then he's like, he mumbles some stuff at me, like, I couldn't quite what he said, but he's like, hey, there's a 7-Eleven right down there. Could you go with me and like buy me some food and some batteries for my music player on your card or something?
Some batteries.
And I was like, yeah. And I was like, dude,
So
I'm
random.
sorry, man. My money is really tight. I got 5 kids to feed and take care of.
Like
I don't
literally,
have
you probably
extra
think it's a
money.
line, but you're like totally telling the truth.
I got 5 kids. I can't afford to be giving every money. If I had spare money and whatever, and that's one thing. Like, I don't care if people ask me for money or for food. That's whatever. But if I say no,
It's not because you want to
Move
say
on.
no. It's because you need to.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, dude, I'm sorry. I can't. I got 5 kids to take care of. Money's super tight right now. It's coming to the holidays. I can't do
Yeah.
it. And he's like, he starts getting like agitated, upset. And he goes, well, man, do you have like any headphones in your backpack you can give me for my music?
God dang,
I'm
man.
like, dude, I don't have headphones to give you. I'm sorry, man. I can't. And he's like, man. And then he goes and like swings at me and goes to like slap me across the face.
No
And I duck
way.
back and and his hand goes like right in front of my nose. Like I feel the fucking wind like go by my face. He's like, man, fuck you, white boy. Like starts walking off. And I'm like, dude,
Oh my God.
you were going to hit me because I wouldn't give you money? Come on.
Yeah. Who's fuck you? Fuck you.
Right. And I was polite the whole time. I wasn't rude. I was like, dude, I can't. I
Yeah.
don't have spare money for anything.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy sauce.
Yeah. And so, if you follow me on Instagram and stuff, I drew a comic about it.
Oh, did you? I gotta go check it out. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. And I've drawn, if you scroll through my Instagram, I've drawn several comics about my interactions with people in Seattle over the last couple of years.
That's funny. And you're not tiny, so if you retaliated and actually connected, that'd be hurting on somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 6'1", I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
But I mean, ultimately, he didn't hit me and walked off, so there's no altercation beyond that. But like, again, I don't give a shit if people ask for money.
Right.
If I have spare money, or if I have food to give them, or if I feel like, and I've stopped and I've bought people sandwiches in Seattle many times.
Right.
I've bought people McDonald's before more than once. But like, if I say no, or someone says no,
Just deal with it.
I don't know why. They're homeless people in Seattle probably are not going to hear this, but if you do, don't get mad if somebody says no. Just move on.
Right.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of government assistance here. A lot. So there's no reason for them to be actually on the street like that, begging for, and you don't even know. He probably would have lured you to freaking mug you.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I don't know where he would take me.
Yeah, you don't do that. That's just...
Yeah.
You're not being very street smart. If you're like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Face tattoos, heavy psych meds. I'm good. No, thank you.
You can go around that corner by yourself. I'm going to go where there's lots of people.
Right, exactly. I'm going to stay right here on the street with people all around me.
That's crazy.
That
but
is
then
crazy.
You made it.
But then I made it. Then I came around and came in and told you, and you're like, what? He almost slapped you? I'm like, yeah, dude.
Oh, man. Well, it was an experience.
It was an experience, but I don't. You know what? I'm good with not having those experiences. If that's an option,
that is an option. You just have to,
not go to Seattle anymore.
Yeah.
I worked there.
Nose down, eyes forward. Don't make eye contact.
My nose was down. I was looking at my phone, and he came up to me and was like, "Hey, man, like I'm not looking at him." He started to come to me. I had my nose down. I wasn't looking at anybody.
Oh man, it was fate. You just got to stay away from that area, man. Just got to stay away.
Yeah. I work in that area.
Well, then, carry some bully money. I don't know what to tell you.
Right. Here's my lunch money. Don't hurt me.
Oh, man. I can't believe that happened, but,
Makes a good story,
But at least
right?
10 minutes later, you were sitting down with our buddy Andrew, having the conversation everyone just heard.
having a beer, eating your fries was great.
Yeah. So there you go. And I think
All right.
that's basically the show.
Yeah, that's a show, man.
Yeah.
We're good.
And keep an eye out. We're going to have more with Andrew. It's going to be amazing. And now we have to go to London. You'll find out why as things unfold, and it's going to be cool. And I think we're really excited about this. We have a new YouTube thing that's coming out. We're working on it.
We talked about it. Wait, we talked about it, and we didn't talk about it on the show when recording.
No, we've never
so.
been actually talked about it on the show, but I figured this is as good as time as any.
Yeah. So it's coming soon.
It's coming soon. Do we want to say what it is? Let's procure the name first, then we'll do it.
Yeah, good idea. Let's do that.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it on a future episode.
Not that we have anybody actually listening and take our idea and go with it. Who knows, But plus my mom's not going to steal any of our ideas. So
right, exactly. But if anybody's listening and gets to this point, send us a tweet saying you heard this, and I'll give you something. I will send you.
Totally platonic
some PDF comics.
It'll be platonic in nature.
Yes. I will give you some. I will give you some free previews of comics that are done that I'm going to be releasing soon.
There you go. All right,
and that's a show.
That is a show. Don't forget, we are heard everywhere podcasts are heard. We are on all the social media platforms that we could think of. If we're missing something, let us know. We'll get our asses up there, and
we will.
Come and say hi.
And give us a call at 707-656-2080. Leave a voicemail, 707-656-2080. And check out our website for awesome articles. You wrote one, which is fantastic, at scpod.net.
Yep, all about Venom, the movie, and what I think of it. And
which we may do a follow-up episode on that.
We may. We may not, but we may. Hey, John, you know what happens when you read more?
It opens your mind.
That's a show.